All right. We're halfway through. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Ecole hôtelière de Lausanne, EHL. Now this guy understands the smart casual concept, right? Good luck, guys.
Don't you? Okay. Hospitality industry of 2050. To be fair, kind of as naive millennial students at first, we were like, let's Google it. Hospitality, sustainability, 2050. Save you some time, you're not going to find much. So instead of trying to predict the future, we decided to put our minds into thinking what would ensure that hospitality today would ensure its longevity up until further years. And that's why we're here today.
In the past 100 years, the life in the developed world has become increasingly convenient, and we have adopted an array of unsustainable consumption habits that have led to problems such as overproduction and overconsumption, waste generation, and high amount of carbon emissions. But what really surprised us in our research is that despite this ever-growing convenience in the modern world, more and more people feel lonely and isolated. In the beginning of 2020, prior to the COVID crisis in January, the World Health Organization has released a statement and said that more than 264 million people worldwide suffer from depression. What has been the biggest surprise is that the rates of depression is higher in high-income countries than low-income countries, from which we can conclude that our unsustainable consumption habits don't even make us happy in the long term. So that's why we think we need a new way of living that creates value with a lower CO2 footprint and doesn't trash our planet. So what do we have for you? It is community living, short, co-living. And it's actually nothing new at all. It's deeply rooted in the human history and human society. And it's mostly been practiced because of two aspects. First of all, it is one of the most efficient way of living because it leverages the economies of scale by sharing your resources with the people you live with. Secondly, we humans, we're social beings. We thrive for social interaction. No wealth in this world will ever make you happy if you don't have friends to share it with. So let me repeat, efficiency and community. And we think these are the best tools to tackle the problems of unsustainable consumption and loneliness in this world. So we want you, the hospitality leaders of today, to help us bring co-living to the mainstream, create co-living facilities where we bring like-minded people together, and we create an infrastructure that facilitates the adoption of a sustainable lifestyle. Because we truly think that if co-living becomes the way of living of the 21st century, we can unleash vast amount of shared value, of triple bottom line value for people and planet, but businesses alike.
Co-living is about putting together like-minded people, but also it's about connecting people who can benefit from each other's presence. For example, in the UK, in a co-living facility, they started connecting retirement homes with playgrounds and day school. And it was amazing because it helped put senior citizens back into society. It's also a wonderful value, as sharing of resource and leveraging that share allows people to have access to tools, to facilities, to living environments they could not necessarily afford on their own. Finally, it will help also mitigate urban loneliness and the exponential rate prices of rental that we can find in cities now. By putting together both private and public entities into creating sustainable but also affordable housing living, we will also allow for hospitality to enter this gigantic and booming market that is communal living. Design-made co-living environments are up to 70% more sustainable than traditional housing. And even in reconverted schemes, we can find up to 50% carbon reductions, as seen in certain environments, for example, in the UK. By putting the weight of sustainable infrastructure investment off the individual level and bringing it to the business level, it also allows for all social levels to have access to sustainable housing solutions.
So let me explain to you why a co-living brand is a great acquisition for any hospitality portfolio. First of all, it's less affected by seasonality and travel restrictions than hotels due to long periods of average stay and the lower guest turnover. Furthermore, it offers high rental yields because of its efficient space usage and the value for community programming that many people are willing to pay for. Furthermore, at the current moment, the demand outweighs the supply, as you can see on this graph here, As you see, the current supply of beds is a lot smaller than the beds which are in the pipeline. Seems like the perfect moment to enter this industry. And last but not least, there's a great array of executives from large real estate companies such as CBRE, Greystar, or Cush & Wakefield who say that in the future there's more and more institutional investments flowing into the direction of the co-living, as it's very promising. And now my teammate from Hong Kong, Stefano, who can't be here today, will explain you how such a co-living business model could look like for you.
So how does CEFCO really come together to build sustainable communities? We inspire you to adopt a business model that will take your expertise in hospitality and apply it to the up-and-coming industry of co-living. We envision financial support from government agencies, financial institutions, and real estate developers to build CEFCO. Through crucial partnerships with key stakeholders such as visionary architects, community builders, and urban planners, we wish to make sustainable cooperative living more accessible and affordable to all. Whether that be young professionals, families, or senior citizens, CEFCO is really for everyone. We will initially operate this in 3 distinct stages. After owning it and perfecting our concept, we will aim to expand through different geographies through management and franchise agreements. We will first introduce CEFCO in developed countries as part of our Horizon 1 strategy, battling urban loneliness and unsustainable production and consumption through economies of scale and community living. Once we have really perfected the model in such countries, our Horizon 2 vision takes CEFCO to developing countries, tackling slum development. Our Horizon 3 envisions the people planning coexisting in a symbiotic relationship, paving the way towards true cyclical and intergenerational living through empowered communities.
So we're here today, standing in front of you. We're young, we have a lot of ideas, we have a lot of passion, we love this subject. But unfortunately, we're also young, we're just beginning. And that's why today, we're here to ask you, as leaders of this beloved hospitality, to take the first step. Thank you.
Glad it's over, right? Well done, guys. Yes, Jochem Jan, first question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Very good presentation and a nice way. I was already wondering where the third person was. It was nice that he got onto stage at the end. Thank you for that. Now I have a question. You made in your speech a comment about the working together between private and public sector. Could you just give me a little bit more flavor on that?
Yes. I feel in the long term, many big cities are facing the housing crisis at the moment and very high rental prices. And many of them are looking for alternative ways to offer lower price housing in city centers. And I think with community living, by sharing spaces with other people, we can make this possible. So we really think if we pitch this in the right way, and you can let them know that you can give a sustainable way of life that tackles loneliness, we can promote it to the state to invest in it as well.
On the long term, we also envision tomorrow's mega cities that are going to host immense amount of people, and therefore a lot of, for example, climate change related rural exodus. So a lot of movement of people, and cities and government will have to handle those masses. So the bringing of hospitality operating neighborhoods that are designed to welcome these people will actually facilitate also the integration of them in cities.
Thank you.
And so based on this, are you bringing the people first, or are you bringing the building first? Because you're talking about this community and bringing together like-minded people. How are you going to do that?
So there's 2 different ways. Either you build a building and you do interviews with tenants before they come in, and you make sure to kind of have a common mindset, etc. And once it's up and running, you let the community itself choose the new tenants, so they can kind of co-create the community. But there's also other business model, like a great company in Copenhagen called Almanar, that finds the people beforehand, that did 15,000 personality tests with people living in Denmark, and then connected like-minded people and facilitated the process that they imagined, what's the perfect community for us? What's the perfect building? Do we want a swimming pool? Do we want a church? Whatever. And then they built it to measure for the people. And these people also brought in the investment to create this facility. As like this, you have more access to sustainable infrastructure because you have the economies of scale. When 20 families together build solar panels, it's a lot more efficient than when a single household has to invest into it.
You guys are really passionate about this, right?
Yeah.
I can tell. You're really passionate about
Yes.
it. Beautiful to see. Dirk, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. Microphone. I have indeed a question. Compliments on the presentation to
Thank
start with. It's excellent, very comprehensive, and indeed very passionate. To drive change, we need to influence people's mentality.
Exactly.
Would you agree?
Yes.
Have you thought of memberships?
Yes. There's a great company called Embassies, which has a membership model where you can live all around the globe and you have different facilities. And the membership model is a great, interesting model.
In our presentation, we try to encompass, yes, current co-living environments, and that we can foresee for the 10 next years, but also how it's going to look like over 30 years, and therefore also the business model might change.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
One
Thank
final
you so
question. Hytham, yes.
I still can't seem to get my mind around the hospitality angle of this. To me, it looks like more residential,
Yeah.
targeting, or you're probably focusing more on resolving loneliness, is what it looks like, right?
It's true, but at the moment the current trend is that people spend more and more money to eat in restaurants. So we think in the future, if you have a whole neighborhood created where people live, you can also cater to the needs to the people that live there. And you can kind of create a relationship between the staff in these restaurants and the people living in these facilities. Furthermore, we also think that with the adaptation of sustainable lifestyle at the moment, it's very hard. You have to do all the recycling yourself. You drive to a facility, you need to bring it. And I also think we can offer for people the services that we take care for you to adapt to sustainable lifestyle.
In the very global picture, hospitality will actually become a community manager, creating.
If I then may jump
community.
in, would you then see IHG taking part of something like this? Could you imagine that, or?
Absolutely.
Good. Tell me how, just quickly.
How you can take part of it? Well, I would collaborate, because co-living is a very specific, like to create a community is not easy. So I think the easiest way is to partner up with a current co-living operator to create a concept that you then leverage. As I said in our 3-step plan, have one co-living facility, tweak it and make it work, and then you have a clear business plan that you can then leverage furthermore.
And partnering up with current real estate developers that are trying to establish neighborhoods, but I like the essence of, well, what we like in this hospitality, the fact that we all living together and sharing that space.
So would it be a brand of IHG or a project for IHG?
A brand.
Okay. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, EHL.
Here you go. Thank you.